Annex A Control 5.10. Acceptable use of information and other associated assets.
Picture. Dave is operations, support, finance, and the person who orders the biscuits at a 12-person software company. It's 11 at night. There's a board pack due at 9 in the morning.
So Dave exports the full customer list, pastes it into some free artificial intelligence chat window, and asks it to summarize churn. Was that allowed? Nobody knows. Nobody ever wrote it down. Dave didn't break a rule because there wasn't one. He broke a vibe. That's the whole thing. You could stop the video here and go and fix it, but you won't. So let's carry on. Here's what the standard actually says. Rules for the acceptable use and procedures for the handling of information and other associated assets shall be identified, documented, and implemented. Go through that again slowly, because there are two halves and almost everyone writes one and a bit half one. Rules for acceptable use. What people may and may not do with the kit and the data. Half two procedures for handling, how each type of information is actually used, stored, transferred, and got rid of. Most companies produce a document called an acceptable use policy, which contains the sentence, employees must use company assets responsibly, and then they go for a coffee. Adorable. That's not a rule. That's a mood board. Quick note on the 2022 edition, because people ask. This one isn't new, it's a merge. The old 2013 standard had acceptable use of assets sitting in one place and handling of assets sitting somewhere else entirely in a different section, which meant most organizations did one and forgot the other. So they welded them together into a single control, which tells you something. If the committee that writes the world's most used security standard thought those two things kept getting divorced, they probably keep getting divorced at your place too. Now, the bit that makes this control actually bite, it's welded to classification. Annex A Control 5.12. If you've got labels, public, internal, confidential, whatever your three are, then this control is where those labels grow teeth. Because a label on its own does nothing. A label is a sticker. What turns a sticker into a control is a handling rule that says, for each label, 4 things. How you may use it, where you may store it, how you may transfer it, how you destroy it. If your policy says confidential information must be handled appropriately, congratulations, you've written a circle. Appropriately, according to who? Dave? Dave's at 11 at night with a board pack. Dave's judgment is not a control. Dave's judgment is a hazard. So what does right size look like for 12 people? Not 40 pages. Please, not 40 pages. Nobody has ever finished a 40-page acceptable use policy, including the person who wrote it. 2 sides of A4 plain English, then 1 table. The table has your classification levels down the side and 4 columns across the top. Use, store, transfer, dispose, and you fill in the boxes with actual names of actual tools. Confidential customer data. Use only inside the product database and the approved analytics tool. Storage, no local copies on laptops, no personal cloud drives. Transfer encrypted through the approved file sharing platform, never as an email attachment. Disposal, deletion request through the platform, and the tickets closed off quarterly. Internal, fine in the company chat. Fine in the shared drive. Don't put it on a public page. Don't leave it on a screen in a coffee shop. Public, it's public. Go wild. Post it on a billboard. That table is the whole control. Everything else is commentary. The awkward part's down, because the awkward parts are the ones that actually happen. Can you check personal email on the work laptop? Can you use the work laptop for your side project? Can the kids use it for homework on a Sunday? Can you install a browser extension? Can you plug in a removable drive you got free at a conference? Can you put company data on your own phone? And if so, what happens to that phone the day you resign? You don't have to be strict. You have to be clear. A generous rule that everyone follows beats a puritanical rule that everyone quietly ignores. No personal use of company devices when 11 of your 12 people are shopping on their lunch break is not a policy. It's fan fiction. Right. 3 ways this falls over. Failure 1. The policy nobody has ever seen. It exists. It's in a folder. It was signed at induction once in a bundle of 12 documents on someone's first morning when they were mostly thinking about where the toilets are. It mentions a file server you decommissioned 2 years ago. Nobody has looked at it since. It is technically documented and functionally fictional, and the standard says identified, documented, and implemented. Implemented. That's the word that gets you. Failure 2. Handling rules that ignore your own classification. This is the sneaky one. You've got a lovely classification scheme in one document, with 4 levels and a nice color scheme, and then your handling rules talk vaguely about sensitive data, a phrase that appears nowhere in your classification scheme. So the 2 documents are describing different companies. Pick your labels. Use the same words everywhere. Boring consistency is worth more than clever wording. Failure 3. The gap between the policy and the tooling. Your policy forbids personal cloud storage. Your laptops have no restriction whatsoever, and 3 people are syncing the shared folder to a personal account right now. A rule you cannot see, cannot enforce, and never check is not a rule. It's a wish with a version number. Yes, since the whole world started pasting things into chat windows, put the artificial intelligence tools in the table explicitly, which ones are approved, what may go in them, what absolutely may not. Because otherwise the answer defaults to whatever Dave decides at 11 at night. Neighbors you should look at while you're here. Annex A Control 5.9, Inventory of Information and Other Associated Assets. Because you cannot write use rules for kit, you can't list. Annex A Control 5.11, Return of Assets for when people leave. Annex A Control 5.12, Classification of Information, the one this hangs off. Annex A Control 5.13, Labeling of Information. Annex A Control 5.14, Information Transfer. Annex A Control 6.2, Terms and Conditions of Employment, which is where the rules get contractual teeth. Annex A Control 6.3, Awareness, Education, and Training, which is how anyone finds out the rules exist. Annex A Control 8.10, Information Deletion for the disposal column. Here's your dare, and it takes 10 minutes. Open your acceptable use policy. Now open your classification scheme, put them side by side. Does the use policy say, for each classification level, how you may use it, store it, transfer it, and destroy it, with named tools? If yes, you're ahead of most companies twice your size. Genuinely. Well done. If no, and I'd put money on no, then you don't have a control. You have a document about having a control. Go and build the table. 2 pages, real tool names, then send it to Dave and ask him whether he broke it last Tuesday. He did, but at least now he'll know